One of the great things about Buffalo is you get a chance to get away from the crowds. And in this video, I want to show you some of the lesser known places to get great wings, great fish, and have an 8 a.m. beer.
This is not the Buffalo I knew growing up. I still see this city as a gritty, dirty steel town, and not the shining light of the Great Lakes. So let's dig into Buffalo's underbelly, the spots tourists miss. Forget the glossy travel brochures. This is the Buffalo I love. It may be a little rough around the edges, but this place is unapologetically real.
Try to catch me howling at the moon.
As a kid in the 1970s and 80s, I loved to explore the abandoned places of this formerly Rust Belt town. And when I got older, I loved to hang out in the old blue-collar bars. They always had an ugly, romantic charm to them. Some were just plain dives, and others had great food and a tight-knit community. They were sketchy places, like something Charles Bukowski would choose. And, of course, some were dangerous, but they were all truly one of a kind. Every town has at least one. Now this place has been dusted off, cleaned up, and it's a far cry from the rusting hulk of a city that I knew. Today, we're going in search of what is left of the kinds of places I used to know here in Buffalo. Fact is, there aren't many left. At least the ones that haven't been taken over by social media.
So, it's early morning, and I'm exploring around in Buffalo, New York, looking for what's called an 8 a.m. bar, called a third shift bar here in Buffalo, and that'll be fun.
My first stop was in the middle of the Rust, in the Rust Belt. So I pulled my car over, parked my car, walked inside, and got down to business.
Well, thanks for having me in, guys. So, what brought you guys here? Why are you all here?
I'm here to see my girl. We're all here because of Missy.
So this place really opens at 8 in the morning.
Yes.
Why?
Why not?
There's always
First
people
of all,
waiting to get in.
this is the only place you can wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, get dressed, and I swear, I'll curb that, and come down and meet good friends and have fun and reminisce about your kiddie years.
There used to be 27 bars in this neighborhood. They all prospered early in the morning because all the old timers went for a shot and a beer early in the morning.
So, you guys would get off your late night shifts and come here?
Yes.
Why? To get drunk at 8 a.m.? Sure.
Well,
But not drunk, not drunk.
when you're working that shift, your lifestyle it's almost the same as the guy working day shift.
So, like, what do you guys love about Buffalo?
We're stop. We're stopping outside that one.
Bills, you love the bills. I love this
I gotta live somewhere.
It's a city of friendly neighbors.
Favorite fish fry?
Oh, weed shacks.
Wheat Chex. Oh, yeah. I would say Wheat Chex probably has the best crispy beer battered one going, and they're huge.
Our jury's is good on Kevin Raff.
Really? So, you guys are awesome. Thank you.
So that's the 8 a.m. bar. Next, we're going to learn about the noonday fish.
Really? So I just finished up here at Barry's. What an amazing time. fun place. Great, comfortable atmosphere.
My next stop was down south of the city of Buffalo, but I still call it Buffalo. It's a place called Hoak's, and they have what I call the old school fish fry, yellow pike.
So one of my favorite things about being here at Hoak's is the incredible view out along the lakeshore. And if you look down there, that's Buffalo. And it's just a great place, quiet, especially when you're here in the afternoon.
Walleye pike is a special thing. It's hard to find, and you can't just find it anywhere.
I'm here today at Hoak's to get a yellow pike fish fry. Now they're walleye pike by proper terminology, but these are hard to find these days in upstate New York. It used to be decades ago that all the fish served for fish fry were locally caught out on the Great Lakes. In the 1970s, they ran out of fish from overfishing. Anyway, so obviously one of the things you got to have here is tartar sauce. I love tartar sauce. It's good. It's a mayonnaise base. Usually you got a lemon. And for me, you got to have some kind of malt vinegar to go with it. First thing you do with your fish fry. It's flaky. It's almost creamy texture. The batter is a light breaded batter, which is very different than a breaded or than a beer batter. And it's got a nice crunch to it, like a perfectly done French fry. And I eat them with my hands, at least on the end pieces. So I also put a couple drops of lemon on them. I love lemon on my fish. The significance of fish, at least in Western New York food history, is at the turn of the 20th century or the late 19th century, there was no public assistance for people that were hungry. The only institution at the time was the church, where you could go get help with food. And in Buffalo, if you got stuck here for the winter, a lot of times before the advent of the automobile and the railroads, if you were in Western New York, by the time the lake froze, you were stuck here all year long. The one thing you could do was go out in the lake and fish. Make your own food, so to speak. Catch your own food. So I came here last year during a snowstorm, a blizzard, with my cameras, and I parked them out front. And I filmed this place encased in solid ice. And quite frankly, that makes this one of the more unusual bars in North America that you can go inside during these storms and enjoy yourself at the bar and have some food. They're open all year long. Other times I've been down here with my camera in near hurricane force winds to film waves coming up over the tops of this place and literally crashing onto the roadway behind it. It's some amazing footage. So the news channels like to come here and shoot footage of this place frozen during the wintertime. Fish fries are not all created equal. The invention of the fish fry is not new or not special to Buffalo. What became an institution here in Buffalo was the fish fry inside of a bar. And it turned into a Friday tradition for myself. It really makes me feel like I'm back in my childhood. That's a fish fry at Hoak's in Buffalo.
My next stop led me to North Buffalo to meet with my friend and filmmaker Corey Green.
A film about
Corey and I first met while making his first film called The Forgotten City. That was in 2005. It was a film about the buffalo he saw. For background, here are a few clips.
I got 2 phone calls. One telling me my friend just killed somebody. And I get a call from Addison saying his friend just got killed. My friend killed his friend.
So if you go back almost, 20 years when you and I met, and you saw a different buffalo when you were a younger man.
Yeah. I feel like we progressed a lot, and that's even, why we even did the documentary, just because even at that time, I'd say it was so much of a boiling point, but it was a lot going on. And not saying that it's not now, but the younger version of me was ambitious to tell that story and make sure the world was seeing like the other side of Buffalo.
Right. What's changed since then, and what has stayed the same?
Well, remember you called me the other day. You said you rode down Goodyear.
Yeah.
So
that hasn't changed. I know. I was like by the Happy Swallow. And I'm like, okay. So I went in and had a fish fry, but you go and look up and down the street, and it's just garbage in the streets.
Yeah. So things like that, where there's certain parts of the city that are still waiting for some attention.
Yeah.
Maybe some funding, maybe some kind of guidance, whether it's from, local politicians or even the fire. But, even with my neighborhood, so the things that change, at least for me, is things that I want to do, because the younger version of me would try to save the entire city and, go from here, go from there, which can be an uphill battle.
So one of the things that I remember seeing on social media was that over the past several years, you do these community events. And when I talked to you about that the other day, you said, yeah, when I was younger, I used to always want to make sure that, the big wigs were there. But now I'm doing it for another reason, or you just...
Overall, I feel the city is a great place. Things are changing, and I feel like the youth, the new blood is coming up, and I'm ambitious, right with them to see like what we can actually do.
Buffalo is a city of numerous realities, and one of them is the Tops Massacre.
You talk about what changed in Buffalo, that's something traumatic where somebody not from the community came, and that was horrible. You text me, sent me the footage, and we were like, that was, I don't know, but I just wanted to make sure I just kind of shed light on that, because I got, friends and family that live in the neighborhood, and to still have to go there, I feel like it's trauma in itself. It's a certain way you gotta do things to get real change, and that's something about being, black in America. You gotta take it, and sometimes...
When things have gotten better on the surface, it doesn't mean that they've really changed, but sometimes it helps to look in a new direction.
And you've just succeeding and doing great things. I call you for advice. You've got this film stuff going on. They built a great new studio here with your buddy Larry.
Oh yeah.
So it's like good stuff to see.
Yeah,
and with
absolutely.
that, on a good note, let's go work on some wings, and we'll walk.
Now we head across the street to meet Corey's friend Tim, who owns this place called Loudhouse, and we're there to have wings.
Buffalo wings?
I think those are the medium, and I got the jerk.
All right. So now we got to kind of sit in judgment of these guys.
Okay.
So we came here to your buddy's spot to try out their wings, see how they do them. I guess Buffalo style wings is very specific, right?
If you're from Buffalo, you have the right to make your own wings.
So what did we miss as far as is barbecue a Buffalo thing, or is
Then, after a couple minutes, Corey's friend Tim came out to check on us and see what we thought of the wings.
It's better than just the normal. It's not. I don't know if it's garlic or if it's
Oh yeah, you gotta try the jerk. You ain't tried the jerk.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll do a drum. Oh my God.
I told you. Oh my God. I brought you to the right place, Steve.
Okay. For me, this is it. This is, oh, wow. And at that, I'm going to eat one more bite. But about you and your life here. You told me once that you're really not into football.
Who?
You.
Not into football.
Yeah.
I forgot we were rolling. I almost threw this wing at him.
Yeah. So what is it about football that works for you?
You know, sports in general, especially football, we got one goal, and that's to win this game. And it's not, you know, Democrat, Republican, it's not black or white, it's not gay or straight, it's let's just win this football game.
In Buffalo, football is something close to a religion. Each year, as the weather changes, Buffalo Bills fans get together in their masses to have a huge outdoor party called the Tailgate. It's a gritty, blue-collar bacchanal involving bratwurst, wings, and beer. Just being here makes you feel like you're part of one huge family. The tailgate isn't new, nor is its history. In the 18th century, families in France brought food and drinks to watch public executions. And during the American Civil War, people actually brought blankets and picnic baskets to watch the Battle of Bull Run. But that was then, and this is now. I think the tailgate is one of the best examples of what's great about Buffalo. So much so that I insisted my friend Zamir, who was visiting from Moscow, come out to see this awesome event, and he fit right in. Parts of Buffalo are changing for the better. At least in areas like this.
So today I've come down to what's called the 5 Points neighborhood of Buffalo, a place that I used to come down to, 30, 40 years ago. It's a little different now than it was back then. But one of the cool things is some of the architecture has been preserved. And on the flip side of things, that used to be the Club Utica. And it was a country western place for many, many decades. And it's long gone now, but you would come out of that country western dive bar out into the streets to face urban realities like people shot, stabbed, and other things over the years that happened right there. But that's just a memory now. That's part of the Buffalo that's gone. And now it's been revived to some extent, bringing new money and new life into the city proper. This neighborhood used to be a place where it was quite dangerous. You would get robbed coming here, or at least very likely robbed. But now there's a revitalization going on here in this city. So today I'm meeting with my friend Newell Nussbaumer, who's an urban renewal expert and pro-Buffalo guy for many years. And I'm going to ask him what he thinks about the city. There he comes in through the side entrance. What's up, man? That worked out.
It did.
Yeah, I thought you were going to be driving.
I don't have a car.
Oh, you don't?
No.
And
Cool.
after grabbing some tea and coffee, we got right down to it.
It's been a while.
Yeah, man. Like decades.
No, it hasn't been decades.
Uh-huh.
Really? Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, 1990s. So, what makes Buffalo great?
So for me, it's the simple things. I think that Buffalo has always, as far as I've ever been writing with Buffalo Rising, I believe that everyone's always been looking for the silver bullet. And there were so many silver bullets that were about to come to Buffalo and never came. And I think that eventually people, you get like a little jaded. And so I think it's all about quality of life. And it's funny because before we started chatting here, we were speaking previously, and one of the things that you miss by not living in the city is being able to walk to places like 5 Points.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah, exactly. So I biked over here. It took me, I think, maybe a minute and a half to get here. When I first moved into where I live right now, I've been living there for 30 years. 5 Points, this place was a mess right here. It was derelict. I mean, I saw some really weird stuff right at this intersection over here over the
Funny
years.
you should mention the Club Utica.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
What do you remember? What about winter? What'd you do in the winter?
Went to the parks.
Outside.
We used to hang in the parks year round. So we would go skiing.
Making the best of it.
Yeah, just make the best of it. But it's funny because even today, Buffalo doesn't, I'm not going to start off on a negative tangent here, but Buffalo still doesn't take advantage of its winters. You know, we've got a couple of skating rinks, curling rinks, and things like that. And that's amazing. And we've got places like Riverworks.
If there's one thing I love most about Buffalo, it's the winters here. I was one of those winter bike riders, and so was my dad. And yes, we are known for our blizzards. For me, winter's a chance to go out and have an adventure, like this one, not far away from my favorite summertime picnic spot.
Okay, I gotta admit, it's pretty scary out here. The wind is high. Deadly ice is right there. And I'm way the hell out on this unknown break wall. And the wind is really high.
There is an isolating beauty to this place in winter. Its monochromatic minimalism reminds me of something I can't quite describe in words, but it's real and you can feel it.
Horrible storms we've ever seen, and this is far surpasses all of those storms.
But I digress.
So no chicken wings for you?
No, I eat chicken wings.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I eat
Best
chicken
chicken
wings. Buffalo style, I guess Gabriel's Gate.
But off the
Gabriel
beaten path.
obviously has got, amazing wings. And I was really just talking about the city because I sold my car 5 years ago, so I'm not, I'm really city
And you got to
bound.
draw a line somewhere.
Yeah, so I'm biking everywhere.
What about, what's that place on Amherst, the music place called?
Sportsman's Tavern?
Sportsman, they got really good wings there.
So they have a wing there that my wife absolutely thinks is just about heaven, and I have yet to have it.
Right,
but
you
she
should go.
raves about it.
Yeah, and I think personally, they're nice and crispy, good sauce, but Gabriel's Gate so far.
Speaking of chicken wings, Gabriel's Gate is often voted as the best chicken wings. And here's why.
Over the decades, this place has known for being some of the best chicken wings in Buffalo, the home of the chicken wing. Personally, I don't think Anchor Bar has the best wings. A lot of it is a combination of sauce, how well you cook it, and where you source your wings. So for me, first of all, the spice hits you. You gotta have your blue cheese. And I ordered mine today hot. The thing you gotta be ready for is napkins. I had a chance a minute ago to go into the kitchen and see this particular order being made for me. I just go back? Okay. All right.
Walking back into the kitchen of this place reminds me of the tight quarters you might find on the galley of a ship. This is Chef Wayne Mosby. He's been making the wings here for more than 25 years, and he's good at it. To be honest, I felt privileged to see these wings being made. It was like I was being given special access to see the king. These guys have been making these wings here since I was a kid in the 1960s, and they know how to do them right. And now it's time to sit down and see what these things are really about.
Thank you. So here goes the first bite. And I have to say, perfect. Seriously, I'm a wing guy. And over the years, I've had places that just didn't do them right. And personally, what I love them most is when they're just smothered in sauce. And this sauce is a perfect mix of kind of that buttery hotness that doesn't knock you over. And the parts of the wing itself are crispy enough, and yet it's super moist and tender on the inside. So those first few, and I'm not kidding when I say this, they were perfect. These are what a chicken wing should be. And you wash it down with a sip of beer, and in this case, this is a locally brewed beer from a place called 42 North, and it's a mango something or other. It's very nice, kind of like an ale almost. One of the other things you can pay attention to is the blue cheese. Blue cheese has a couple of purposes. One is it tastes really good, but the other thing is it can help cover some of the heat, because if you order them hot like I did today, you're going to be sweating a little bit, especially in the hotter weather. Getting back to the history of the chicken wing, they were, those parts of the chicken in the late 19th century were just thrown away. And people considered those low-grade scraps. Fast forward to the 1960s, and chicken wings were on the verge of being a household snack. And here in Buffalo, a place that is now called the Anchor Bar, started serving them as a snack, and they made the hot sauce. So that's what makes a buffalo chicken wing a buffalo chicken wing. It's the sauce. You can dry rub your chicken wings, but they're not buffalo chicken wings until you take a sauce like this and smother your wings.
And with that, I headed for the door.
That was some excellent wings here at Gabriel's Gate, place I've been coming to for years, and now I'm off.
Like
to the next
any
stop.
city, Buffalo has its urban issues that are shared by every city around the world. Perhaps because of the cold, Buffalo's homeless are less visible in winter, and in warmer weather, we all walk right past them, just like in every other city. Does that make it right?
So this is Allen Street, and I spent a lot of years living down here, and a lot has changed, a lot has improved, and there's a lot of things that haven't. But also, you've got people living on the streets. It's not just Buffalo, it's all over the country. These tent cities are popping up all over because since COVID, the rent prices have gotten up so high that most people can't afford that. So now people are pitching tents, preferably on state and government property. So depending on how you want to look at things, sure, things have improved, but a lot of things have actually gotten worse. But things look good.
No tour of Buffalo would be complete without a trip to this next place. Tucked away in the east side of Buffalo is a very unassuming bar called Dick's East Side Inn. My friend Greg is meeting me there to talk about his Buffalo. They used to say that Buffalo was the saloon capital of the world, a place where factories lined the landscape. At one point, Buffalo had one saloon for every 84 residents and more than 30 breweries that fed laborers locally made beer. And All that beer was drank in neighborhood bars like this one on Buffalo's east side.
That's right. All right, I just got to make a loud clapping sound.
Then it wasn't long before we started filming that Debbie came by to give us well wishes in true Buffalo style.
Hello. Long time no see. A week.
She loves me. It's happy hour.
Say
you know, see?
Well, we'll make it in.
Yeah. So just in case I didn't catch some of the stuff that I'm fishing for, areas like this were heavily Polish.
Yeah.
So when did the Polish start coming into this area, as far as you know?
Well, the large immigration started after the 1870s. You know, so by the early 1880s, there was fair population.
Do you have any thoughts of what's going on in this neighborhood now with new people coming in?
Well, there's a lot of new people. Some people I don't recognize.
But also, I've personally noticed a lot of people wearing traditional Middle Eastern type clothing.
Bengalis are moving a lot of people in.
And that's
mostly
really
Bengali.
interesting.
Some Arabs, but mostly Bengali.
And new stores are opening up. That old cigar shop with the beautiful
that's
right in
New York
Paderewski.
Fuchska,
Yeah. Is that Paderewski? Or
yeah, Paderewski. And then you got the two supermarkets here.
So it's coming across as like an neat. I mean, it's a change, and
it's a positive change.
I had heard somebody here tell me that, and they're also keeping good care of their properties.
They're usually pretty good, and they're putting a lot of money into them, and a lot of people are moving up here.
And it seems like a strong family structure with their socialness.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty typical industrious immigrants. So they're definitely having an impact.
I think that those changes are really going to diversify what we get to eat. I know it sounds bonkers, but growing up, you had Chinese, you had Mexican, you had Italian.
Yeah, you
and
had
Greek.
like those two places on Hurl.
Yes, and so now you can go and get a Yemeni pastry and
Yeah, I can within walking distance of my house. I can go to two Indian style places and two Arab style places.
Yeah, and I think
nice.
that really.
Or I go to Artie's
Alibaba
and get a
Kebab, the kebab spot, that place rocks. I go there for lunch once a month.
That's good.
And
their tandoori wings are really good.
They are, and better than it was in the 1980s around
Plus,
here.
we got microbreweries. We got one in Fillmore, and we got Buffalo Brewing, and then there's Seneca. You got the Buffalo Distilling Company and Flying Bison. So there's a lot of good things going on. There's always transition.
Well, thanks for coming in, and here's to Bob. All right, guys, so that was my time in here. Nice, wonderful, quiet place to be. Actually, not so quiet, but so off to our next stop, which is, I'm not really sure, I forget. But this is Buffalo, and that's what makes it so awesome.
This is the place I grew up in. Before European contact, this land was the domain of the Wenro, and later the Iroquois Confederacy, one of the most highly developed democracies in human history. Then the Europeans came, and everything changed. It's the city that gave us Charles Birchfield and F. Scott Fitzgerald. Ironically, despite its notorious winters, Buffalo is the city that gave us air conditioning, mason jars, the powered grain elevator, the first movie theater, and the electric chair. It's also a city that at its very beginning was burned to the ground by the British, its residents turned out into the winter cold. Buffalo gave us a president, and is the place where one was taken from us. At one time, this place had more millionaires than any other city. In the 20th century, migrants from the South and the families of immigrants from Europe worked in the factories that helped America triumph in the Second World War. As it is always and always will be, Buffalo is changing. For the residents of this city, change is not something to fear. It's something to embrace. After all, that's what makes us who we are.
Head over heels, feels unbelievable. my track. I ain't never looking back.